What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we are back here in Europe with an interesting one here. We're ranking each country worst to best. Well, I'm not personally ranking each country, but this channel from here to there got all 50 countries in Europe ranked worst to best. Me personally, I thought it was like 47 in Europe. Maybe I'm wrong because I've done a lot just in Europe in general, but yeah, we're gonna see what they got here, ranking worst to best country. It's gonna be an interesting one here. I might have my top. I mean, y'all can see just by all the videos I do, which ones are my favorite countries in Europe, and so it's gonna be an interesting one. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. All 50 countries in Europe rank worst to best.
The US has 50 states, and Europe has 50 countries. So let's put them to the test and rank them worst to best, based on their economy, safety, cost of living, freedom, and quality of life.
Right at 50.
Vámonos, allons-y, lass uns gehen, and let's go.
What that mean?
Number 50, Vatican City. At
Not
1/5
Vatican.
the size of Central Park, Vatican City is the smallest nation on Earth, with its entire area
done too much
located
about
within the city of Rome. And it's obviously last, because if you're not part of the Vatican staff, Swiss Guard, or a Catholic priest or nun, you're not even allowed to live here. But why would you?
What?
It's overcrowded, a complete monarchy, and its status as a country is mostly just an excuse to not pay taxes.
Wow.
Number 49.
I forgot about Vatican. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry. What? No, I didn't. I know the flag. I know how the flag looks, so I haven't. But interesting. At 50.
Ukraine. Ukraine is the
Ukraine?
second largest country in Europe and also home to its second most corrupt government. So despite its beautiful people, landscapes, and history, it's Europe's poorest nation with a GDP per capita lower than Iraq
Dang.
at $5,200. The current conflict with Russia has also made many parts of the country not safe, with more than 10,000
man.
Ukrainian civilians being killed in less than 2 years. Number
Dang.
48. Belarus. Don't get cocky,
Not
Belarus.
Belarus.
The only reason you're not dead last is because there's a literal war going on between your neighbors.
Dang.
Considered Europe's last true dictatorship, Belarus's president has been in power for 30 years and routinely invents laws that serve him. Not only is there an extreme lack of human rights where you'll be a
I couldn't imagine being in power for, well, not in power, but president for 30 years. That's a long time, man. That's a stressful job.
arrested
30
and
years
perhaps
of it?
that serve him. Not only has been
least
in your neighbors. Considered
think he
Europe's
said
last
president.
true dictatorship, Belarus's president has been in
Yep,
power for
president.
30 years and
30 years as president. Oh my, that's a stressful job.
routinely invents
To do it for
laws that
30
serve
years
him.
is crazy.
Not only is there an extreme lack of human rights where you'll be arrested and perhaps tortured for peacefully protesting or criticizing his government, you can actually be arrested for speaking Belarusian. Yeah, Russian's the official language here. Number 47.
That's
Moldova.
interesting.
Moldova is Europe's least visited nation, and also it's least
Moldova.
developed, with the lowest life expectancy, second lowest GDP per capita, and hardly any infrastructure existing outside the capital, Chisinau, which is often ranked as
Chisinau?
Europe's ugliest, most boring capital. Throw in a corrupt
Ugliest
government
capital
and
I
high
never heard.
levels of organized crime, and Moldovans are the least happy people on earth. No, like literally,
Dang.
when pollsters ask, "Are you happy?" more than half of Moldovans say no. Number 46.
That sucks.
Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina has been through a lot. After the breakup of Yugoslavia in 1991, over 100,000 Bosnians were murdered and 2 million
Dang.
displaced during the ensuing Yugoslav and Bosnian wars. And many ripples are still felt today. With the worst pollution in Europe, hundreds of completely destroyed buildings, and extreme poverty and PTSD among its residents. Now, those were the 5
Oh my
worst
gosh.
countries in Europe. And before we get to the other 45, leave a like and subscribe. If we hit 10,000 likes, I'll rank every country in Asia.
So the first 5, I mean, I haven't done too much about it. These countries, I usually probably do it on my music channel, checking out music. I did Eurovision over the years from some of these countries, but man, that's a lot. I gotta dig deep in some of these. Of course, with the Ukraine and Russia thing, I know a little bit, but I don't get too much deep into that. But
Too.
man,
And I also wanted to give an honorable mention to Kosovo, which Serbia
Kosovo?
claims. Its sovereignty is recognized by over half of all UN nations, however, so if you consider it a country, it'd be right here on the list. Kosovo would be Europe's second poorest nation with a terrible
Kosovo is
economy
not
and the
considered a
highest
country?
unemployment rate at 20.6%. But since Kosovars receive a lot of money from displaced family members living in wealthier nations, the quality of life isn't terrible, and average life expectancy is nearly 80.
oh,
Number
wow.
45. Azerbaijan. Wait a second.
Azerbaijan?
Isn't Azerbaijan in Asia? Well, most of it is, but 7,000 square kilometers of it is technically in Europe.
What?
In fact,
Okay, I have seen Azerbaijan. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know nothing about Azerbaijan.
only 43
think I've
nations
seen
lie
the flag.
entirely within Europe's borders. But most organizations count 50 European nations, and scientifically speaking, Europe isn't even a real continent, but rather a part of Eurasia. So its boundaries are mostly just
Eurasia.
political. And speaking of political, although Azerbaijan has the most secular government amongst majority Muslim nations, it's still egregiously authoritarian. Elections are not free or fair. Political opponents are often imprisoned, and the president and his father have had complete control of the country for 30 years. But due to its
Dang.
vast oil
President
reserves,
and
the
his father?
economy is decent. Number 44. Armenia. Geographically
Armenia.
speaking, all of Armenia lies in Asia.
That look nice.
Geopolitically and culturally, however, it's very European and part of most European groups, such as the Council of Europe. But Europe or not, 26.5% of Armenians live in poverty. Because despite the political
wow.
system being more democratic than Azerbaijan's, it's still incredibly corrupt, leading to little economic opportunity. This, combined with the nation's near constant conflict with Azerbaijan over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh territory, has resulted in the
The what?
displacement of hundreds of thousands of Armenians. Number 43.
He
North
said that
Macedonia.
word. He said that word fast.
Azerbaijan over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh
Nagorno-Karabakh. Oh, Nagorno-Karabakh. Wow.
territory has resulted in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Armenians. Number 43, North Macedonia. After countless
Macedonia,
controversies
just
with
not
Greece
Macedonia?
regarding the name Macedonia and its
Wow,
former
that
excessively
is-
long name,
What is this called right here,
Controversies
Macedonia? That look incredible. I've never seen that word. What is this?
with Greece regarding the name Macedonia and
That's
its
different.
former excessively long name, former Yugoslavic Republic of Macedonia, the nation was officially renamed North Macedonia in 2019. But unlike the vast
Oh, wow, I
Macedonian
didn't know that.
empire Alexander the Great once led, the only thing North Macedonia is leading the continent in is unemployment.
Dang.
Number 42. Albania. While it's likely the most
Albania.
beautiful European
Ooh.
nation that you know nothing about, Albania is not a great place to live. But considering their tragic history, it's a miracle Albania's recovered at all. After being under one of the most impoverishing communist regimes for half a century, with the former lunatic dictator using the nation's money to build nearly 200,000 bunkers for an invasion that never came, the new democratically elected government in 1992 proceeded to lure 2/3 of the population into a government-backed pyramid scheme, which obviously
pyramid
failed,
scheme.
bankrupting the majority of Albanians and resulting in the 1997 civil war. Number 41. Georgia.
Can't fall for the
Georgia
pyramid
is Europe's
scheme.
most homophobic nation, with 84% of residents saying same-sex relations between adults
said the
is
most
always
homophobic.
wrong. And this stubborn mentality opposing progress translates to all aspects of life. Average wages have remained
You
low,
looked angry
healthcare
holding
and
the fruit.
education remains poor, and its cities are among the most polluted on Earth, resulting in a life
Dang.
expectancy that's lower than Syria.
Oh my
Number
gosh.
40. Russia. Let's just get this out of the way.
yeah, sure.
Russia has extremely limited personal freedoms.
146
There's no
million.
right to peaceful assembly, and public opposition to the war with Ukraine, or even calling it a war, is considered a crime. But for all its issues, including being Europe's most corrupt and dangerous nation, it's cheap, and the economy and infrastructure, especially in Moscow and St. Petersburg, is very advanced, with the world's 6th highest GDP at purchasing power parity. Number 39. Serbia. Belgrade, the
Serbia.
former capital of communist Yugoslavia, is now Serbia's capital and a party capital, with the Lonely Planet ranking it
That's
the
a party
number one
party.
party city in 2023. And this city of extremes, with its beautiful historic center and flashy business-oriented New Belgrade, sitting next to destitute districts without proper sewage, represents the nation at large. If you have money, it's great. If you don't, it's
it's
not. Most people
I think that's anywhere. If you got money, good. If you don't, not good. Anywhere you
don't.
go.
Number 38. Bulgaria. Bulgaria is one of the most fascinating countries. It's the only Slavic state to never join Yugoslavia. The Cyrillic alphabet was invented here, and it's home to the most archaeological sites in Europe other than Greece and Italy. But it's also full of contradiction. While its merit-based schools are remarkable, the majority of schools suck. While its 59-week paid maternity leave is the highest in Europe, so is the mortality rate. And while the GDP per capita isn't terrible, 23% of the nation still lives in poverty. Number 37. Montenegro. Before 5 seconds ago, most of you had never heard of Montenegro. And even now, some of you are probably questioning, wait,
I haven't even seen that much of Montenegro.
You had never heard of Montenegro. And even now, some of you are probably questioning, wait, does Montenegro exist? But although this unknown nation of 600,000 really tall people is the least corrupt in the Balkans, which is a big reason why it's the non-EU member closest to joining, it's also tiny with low wages and taxes, resulting in severely underfunded social programs. But hey, at least Montenegro owns the domain .me, which actually pays the nation $350 million a year.
Wow.
Number 36, Kazakhstan. Apart from being very nice, almost nothing in Borat about glorious nation of Kazakhstan was true. But despite hardly exporting any potassium, Kazakhstan is the greatest exporter of uranium, which, combined with the planet's 12th largest oil and gas reserves, have led to a stable, growing economy and highly developed cities and transportation.
Wow.
Number 35, Turkey. Turkey's most populous city, Istanbul, straddles the border between Europe and Asia and has been one of the most important cultural centers for nearly 2 millennia. But while it and the European portion of Turkey is wealthy, accounting for 30% of the nation's GDP despite covering just 3% of its landmass, most of Asian Turkey is extremely impoverished. Number 34, Hungary. Hungary receives one of the largest amounts of EU development funds. But since its government is by far the most corrupt in the EU, most of it is funneled to the prime minister's family and friends rather than...
True, for the most part, of some of these countries that I don't do much over, they're saying the government corrupt. And most of these
used to improve the nation's infrastructure or economy. Add on the world's highest value-added tax at 27%, and the result is the worst inflation in Europe, with the nation's currency being devalued by 20% each year. No wonder Hungary has the most porn stars per capita. OnlyFans really do be saving lives. Number 33, Romania.
Whoa. I thought I was tripping what I was hearing. My boy said OnlyFans be saving lives.
OnlyFans really do be saving lives.
And they had the girl dancing on TikTok.
Romania. While Hungary is the prime example of a nation's quality of life suffering due to corrupt governance, Romania is the opposite, being the poster child for how quickly a nation can turn things around. One of the poorest countries with a poverty rate of 42% when admitted into the EU in 2006. Romania has had Europe's fastest growing economy ever since, with its GDP growing by 650% over the past 20 years, cutting the poverty rate to just 10% today.
Wow.
Oh, and Dracula lived here.
Dracula. I was surprised that's at 33. I mean, all the other ones been high poverty rates and all that stuff, corrupt governments. I'm surprised it's at 33.
Number 32, Latvia. Latvia houses more women than any other nation and has prospered greatly since the breakup of the USSR. But it's still the poorest and most corrupt of the 3 Baltic nations, with the second worst inflation and roads in Europe. Number 31,
that didn't
Slovakia.
say much.
No, not Slovenia. That's in the Balkans. And not Souvlaki. That's Greek. And delicious. But while few of you can pronounce the former half of Czechoslovakia properly, and even fewer of you can locate it on a map, Slovakia has quietly been improving its quality of life, in large part due to producing the most cars per capita. It's also incredibly safe, education and healthcare is reliable and free, and its capital, Bratislava, even has a UFO. Number 30, Croatia. Ever since joining the EU in 2013, and people learning that much of Game of Thrones was filmed in Croatia, tourism numbers
I was watching a movie. I was watching a movie, the guy that was, I forget his name, one of the brothers, the Queen's brother. Forgot her name too. It's been a minute. I finished Game of Thrones like a long time ago, but the guy was in another movie. I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. It was the brother. It was the family that got on my nerves in the Game of Thrones.
And people learning that much of Game of Thrones was filmed in Croatia, tourism numbers have skyrocketed. Cool.
Yeah, Croatia and the challenge. I forgot what season the challenge was in Croatia. Just recently, actually. Croatia is nice.
Doubling from 2014 to 19. But this, in addition to the recent adoption of the euro, has also led to prices rising, with the average cost of goods now being more expensive than Western Europe, despite salaries being much lower. Number 29, Lithuania. If I lived in Lithuania, this video would have been uploaded at least 8 minutes sooner, because it has the fastest internet on Earth. Which is a testament to how far the small Baltic nation has come since they facilitated the breakup of the Soviet Union.
Internet.
But although the economy has evolved greatly, many Lithuanians' worldviews have not, with most of the older generation being judgmental about anyone who expresses themselves. Number 28. Greece. Compared to the Balkans, Greece is wealthy. Compared to the EU, Greece is poor. And compared to musicals, Greece is the word. Its history, language, and scenery are beautiful. The food is mouth-watering and healthy. And its people are wonderfully warm and welcoming despite their corrupt government and struggling economy.
Another corrupt government.
Number 27, Andorra. Skiing and duty-free shopping are the only reasons anyone ever thinks of this cheap 468 square kilometer nation. But you could also just go to Oregon for that, where there's better beer and legal weed. Number 26, San Marino. Andorra seems massive compared to this tiny 61 square kilometer microstate,
I bet it's expensive,
which is located entirely within Italy and relies on it for 80% of its economy. But San Marino is also the oldest continuous country and exceptionally wealthy, with no national debt and the 7th highest GDP per capita. Number 25. Poland is the geographic center of Europe, and also the center of this list, because overall, it's pretty much the most average European nation. Well, aside from the fact that the godly delicatessen known as the bagel was invented here.
Not the bagel.
Number 24. Italy. Italy is a tale of two nations. While the northern part is very rich and developed with a quality of life similar to top 10 countries, the south is really struggling, with less than half the north's GDP per capita and more than triple its poverty rate. Not to mention, it's got a real trash problem, with Rome being named Europe's filthiest city.
Rome? Which is surprising because usually doing videos in Europe is, I mean, from maybe it's just the countries I do. I don't do too much of Italy, but it's usually clean, very clean. Now, you go here in the States, New York. I've been to New York. Lots of trash. Very, very. I can't even say just very dirty because it's just so much. It's a lot of trash because there's a lot of people, especially. But
it's got a real trash problem, with Rome being named Europe's filthiest city. Number 23, Malta. After having been colonized by 10 different empires over the last 2,700 years, Malta finally gained independence in 1964. And ever since, it cemented itself as a tourist haven due to its year-round warm climate, awe-inspiring historic sites, and world-class beaches. Cool. Not to mention, it's also become the iGaming capital of the world, which has resulted in high wages and Europe's third lowest unemployment rate. And despite being Europe's most Catholic nation, Malta is also the most LGBTQ-friendly nation. Number 22, Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is so small and irrelevant that even its neighbor, Switzerland, often forgets it exists, having accidentally invaded the nation 5 times. And up until a decade ago, you could actually rent the entire country for just 70 grand a night. But despite nothing noteworthy ever having happened here, Liechtenstein enjoys the world's 2nd highest GDP per capita and
Imagine being so rich that you're like, let's rent this country for a couple of days. That would be insane. What do you do when somebody rent your country?
3rd highest life expectancy.
That would be wild.
Number 21, Monaco. Monaco's population is similar to Liechtenstein.
Monaco's small, but I've been seeing a lot of in the basketball world. They got a couple of pro teams in Monaco that I've seen that are pretty major.
Yet it's 80 times smaller at a mere 2 square kilometers.
That look nice.
Making it the most densely populated nation. But while even Liechtenstein doesn't take itself seriously, Monaco is the most try-hard country. It houses the most millionaires and billionaires per capita, the highest GDP per capita, and a human development index over 1, which shouldn't be possible. Why? Because there's no income tax. So wealthy people from all over the world move here to flaunt their yachts and supercars.
Let me get some money. I'm going straight to Monaco so I can keep my money.
Number 20, Estonia. Estonia's capital,
Estonia,
Tallinn,
top
is less than
20.
a 3-hour ferry ride from Finland's
Ooh.
capital, Helsinki. And while it may seem amusing that countless Finnish tourists ride this ferry simply to buy cheap booze, it underscores why Estonia
That's
is
true.
the most affluent Baltic nation. Trade and investment from Finland and Sweden. Estonia has also mimicked many of the Nordic nations' best traits, prioritizing education, safety, and innovation, with it now being the most digitally advanced nation in the world. Number 19, Portugal. You may have heard of Portugal being a top expat destination due to it offering all the food, beaches, history, and culture of most Western European destinations, while being a fraction of the cost. But since local wages aren't great, this has also created Europe's worst housing crisis, with home prices rising 157% from 2020 to 21. Number 18. Cyprus. Cyprus has more billionaires per capita than any non-microstate nation, mainly due to its great weather and friendly tax structure, incentivizing foreign tech companies to set up shop here. The island is a...
That makes sense. You get some money, you got to go to the countries that allow you to not just throw, I wouldn't even say throw your money away, because usually, I know in Europe for sure, the taxes goes for good cause, and it actually benefits you. Here in the States, we just paying taxes. I wouldn't say for nothing, but my God, it don't benefit us not too much.
Forex, fintech, iGaming, and crypto. Not to mention the center of the online porn industry. But it's not just the wealthy who prosper. Average wages are similar to Western Europe, and the healthcare is among the best in the world. Number 17, Spain. Spain might have the best work-life balance of any nation. Not only are 30 paid vacation days and 14 paid public holidays required by law, many companies even close for 2 to 3 hours during the day for siesta. But while there's splendid weather, scenery, history, and culture, in addition to some of the best food and drink on earth, it's not all sunshine and wine. The 12.7 unemployment rate is the highest in the EU, and the cities have Western European prices with Central European salaries. Number 16, France. When polled on who the most arrogant Europeans are, the French chose themselves because they have everything most people could ever dream of, and they know it. The cuisine is out of this world, the arts and culture are unmatched, and the laid-back lifestyle emphasizes life over work. But that doesn't mean the French are lazy. They produce the world's 7th largest economy, and their healthcare, education, and public transit are all outstanding. Number 15, Czech Republic. Czechs are the best at drinking beer. Literally, the average Czech drinks 520 beers a year, which is nearly double the next country. But that's not the only thing Czechs excel at. The Czech Republic is home to the lowest unemployment, poverty, and homicide rates in Europe, as well as one of the fastest growing economies. Number 14, Slovenia. If it weren't for Luka Doncic, most people would have no idea where or what Slovenia is.
He's not wrong here. He's not wrong. Because when we got to Slovakia, I'm like, yeah, Luka's from Slovenia, so let's see where they're going to come at.
And that's a shame, because in contrast to most former Yugoslavic republics, Slovenia has had some of the best economic developments on the continent, with the GDP per capita tripling in the last 20 years. Plus, 1 in every 20 Slovenians is a beekeeper, because 1, Slovenians love honey, and 2, they prefer to shop local, which is a huge reason why Slovenia has the world's lowest income inequality. Number 13, United Kingdom. The UK's damp, cold, gloomy weather is a metaphor for the nation's current sentiment. Depressing. The average quality of life has steadily decreased since Brexit, and the economy has been in stagnation for far longer. But the UK is still the world's 6th largest economy, and the free public healthcare and education is excellent. Number 12, Luxembourg.
Not Luxembourg.
Boring, but stats don't lie, and neither does the highest GDP per capita on Earth. But Luxembourg is also outrageously expensive. Number 11, Belgium. Home to the EU's capital and bordered by the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, and France, Belgium is a mix of the best parts of those nations, crunched into a smaller, more urbanized version. Well, maybe not exactly smaller, because Belgium has a province called Luxembourg, and that alone is 71%
Oh, wow.
larger than Luxembourg. But similar to Luxembourg,
How?
Belgians are
That is
incredibly
crazy.
wealthy. Nearly 3/4 of the population owns their own home, and the median wealth per adult is the third highest in the world. Number 10, Austria. From schools to healthcare, the economy to safety.
Now we in the top 10. I'm sure these next countries not going to be surprising for me because, I mean, they like lead in, countries worth living in and all that stuff are the happiest countries in the world. So we in the top 10.
Number 10, Austria. From schools to healthcare,
Austria
the
is surprising,
economy to
though.
safety, and
Okay.
everything in between. Austria is among the top 15 nations in literally every category, including the most paid time off. Plus,
Dang,
it's
that's nice.
jaw-droppingly beautiful, and Vienna is often ranked as the best city
Vienna.
on earth. Number
Look
9.
nice.
The Netherlands. While
The
many argue that
Netherlands.
Monaco, the Vatican, and other microstates shouldn't exist, the Netherlands literally shouldn't exist. 26%
Right.
of its area is located below sea level. But the Dutch's ingenuity and resourcefulness of building dikes, pumps, and canals, which allow 50% of its population
Very
to live below
innovative.
sea level, has also translated to its economy, with the Netherlands having the third highest after-tax net income of any nation. Number 8. Germany. Germany is the economic powerhouse of Europe, having just surpassed Japan to become the third largest economy, all while Germans work
Dang.
less hours than
That's
any other
Japan?
nation. How? Well, they're highly educated, and because they don't work as much, Germans are much more productive in the time they do work, since they know they'll have plenty of time to socialize and enjoy life after.
And they have a Dirk Nowitzki.
Number 7. Sweden. Sweden
Sweden
is
at
perhaps
number
the
7?
perfect balance between capitalism and socialism, with the Scandinavian nation being home to one of the best economies due to low corporate taxes and plenty of innovative companies, while also having an incredibly strong social safety net. Heck, the government even allows Swedes to take 6 months off in order to start their own business, with a guarantee they
Gotta
can
love
return
it.
to their job if their idea flops.
Gotta
Number
love
6,
it.
Finland. Less than
Finland.
6 hours of daylight and brutally cold winters might seem depressing, but Finland has actually been the happiest nation for 8 years running, which goes to show how much a non-corrupt government that cares about its residents can increase a nation's quality of life. Because with the world's
That's
best
true,
schooling
I guess.
system and parental
I'm telling you, because once we got probably the top 25 or so, we stopped hearing about the government being corrupt. That's how you know we were really getting from the worst to the best.
leave policy, the cleanest air and water quality, and highest level of food security, Finns have little to stress about. Number 5. Switzerland. Nothing in life
Swizzy.
is free. And there's a reason Switzerland is ridiculously safe with the world's best public transportation, healthcare, and after-tax net income. Because it's also the most expensive nation.
Yeah.
But boy, is it beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Number
Especially
4,
those train
Denmark.
rides.
Denmark may not have
Denmark
the
at
best
number
museums,
4?
food, or natural scenery. But when it comes to the essentials, such as good paying jobs, cleanliness, safety, and great quality affordable healthcare, education, and housing, few nations do it better than the Danes. Number
Just
3,
Nor-
Ireland.
oh, Ireland.
has
Norway
the
number
highest
1?
PPP GDP per capita at $145,000, a full 65% higher than Switzerland, the second wealthiest non-microstate. But despite its already exceptional economy, it's also the fastest growing, with a 9.4% annual GDP growth rate. How do the Irish keep finding massive pots of gold? Well,
of
it's home to
gold.
Europe's most educated working class and corporate-friendly tax laws, resulting in nearly every large US company placing their EU headquarters here. Number 2.
Norway? What's
Norway
number
is a
1?
hypocrite. It's one of the cleanest, greenest nations, with 97% of its trash being recycled, 99% of its
Norway.
energy coming from renewable sources, and
Look at
more
that.
electric cars per capita than any
Got a
other
Tesla.
nation. Yet, a big reason why it has the world's third highest nominal GDP per capita is due to it being one of the biggest exporters of oil.
oil.
This also pays for Norway's superb social programs, however, with 59 weeks paid family leave, a top 5 healthcare and education system, and a highly successful qualification program,
Shoutouts
which
to
pays
Norway.
unemployed people to learn new skills.
What is number 1?
Number 1, Iceland. Iceland is the
Iceland?
epitome of how incredible a non-corrupt nation can function. Having been
I can't say much because I don't know too much about Iceland, but For it being the best, that's surprising because I feel like I would know a lot about the best.
Democratically run for over
Iceland, that's
1,000
surprising.
years. Every penny the government takes goes back to helping its residents, which is why the
That's
island
good,
leads the
that's
world in
good.
literally every statistic. From being the safest nation with the safest city to having the best gender equality and
I didn't know the safest. I thought it was more of the Scandinavian countries. I thought it was more of Denmark, Norway, Finland, Nordic countries, really, since I added Finland. I thought those were like, I thought those would have been top. They were top 5, or one of them was 7. But I thought those would be like 1 through 5, at least. Iceland, that's surprising.
retirement pension plan to the lowest poverty rate and highest median wealth, with the average adult owning 413 grand in assets. And on
Dang.
top of that, it might be the most beautiful country. But while these were
It
Europe's
does look
50
nice.
nations, the US also has 50 states. If you want to
It does look nice. It does look nice. No, that's no, this was good. I enjoyed this. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, yeah, Iceland surprised me. I never thought of Iceland being number 1. Shoot, I honestly didn't think about it at first because I'm like, wait, what could be number 1? But I guess it's pretty interesting list. Pretty interesting. Like I said, I figured most of the countries that I've learned about from the beginning, I figured it would be top 10, just because all the videos I've done, they always rank top 10 safest countries to live in, best countries to move to from America, type of places and stuff like that. So, but this was interesting. But y'all make sure y'all subscribe from here to there. Like their video. Yeah, if you have any other videos you'd like me to check out based on these rankings, let me know. I know just looking at some countries, they're definitely interesting, and I might need to explore more. But that's all I have. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations. Y'all be blessed, be the best to be you. I'm out.